Uh-oh.
Okay, we'll start with this. The additions to the Pacheco versus Sajo card, set to go down in mid-December, overall not a bad-looking card. One fight among them, the Sky Nicholson versus Yuli Hangluna WBC Interim Super Bantamweight title fight. The winner of this fight becomes the mandatory challenger to the winner of Scottney versus Flores that has yet to be rescheduled as a result of Ellie Scottney suffering an injury in camp. The winner of that fight may have to answer to the winner of this one, young Sky Nicholson, 30 years old, fighting out of the southpaw stance against the former champion, Yuli Hangluna, who's a year older, but a lot more experienced. Many more fights, many more rounds in the bank. In the paid ranks, Sky Nicholson sports a professional record of 14 wins with 1 loss and no draws, 3 knockouts, having never been knocked out in 15 professional bouts to the former champion, Yuli Hangluna, who sports a professional record of 28 wins with 4 losses and 1 draw. 4 knockouts, having never been knocked out in 33 professional bouts, about the same age as Sky Nicholson, with 2 times as many fights, 2 times the pro experience, but does she have 2 times the talent? It's been about 2 years since Yuli Hangluna's loss to Dina Thorsland in what was their unification match in the bantamweight division, and Yuli Hang has since moved up in weight to super bantamweight, currently on a 3-fight winning streak, last in action in March of this year. So she won't have any ring rust to shake off on the night. Yuli Hangluna has always been a long and limber fighter, a somewhat statuesque fighter as a bantamweight. They've got her registered as standing in at 5 foot even. I don't think that's accurate. I think she's an inch or 2 taller than that, and that's important. She's going to be facing Sky Nicholson, who's already boxed 3 times this year, having dropped a decision and lost her title to Tiara Brown in March. She rebounded off that loss in July, then fought again in August. Now she wants to cap off the year on a 3-fight winning streak. Is she going to? What's interesting about this fight is the styles of the fighters. Both Sky Nicholson and Yuli Hangluna are best described as long and limber movers, long and limber outboxers. Yuli Hangluna, at her very best, is playing the perimeter, circling away from the opponent, and walking the opponent into punches, doing a lot of damage in doing so. She hits hard, at least as a bantamweight. And she's an outboxer, but so is Sky Nicholson, who I think might be 1.5 inches, 2 inches taller. She's an outboxer. They're both outboxers. So you have to wonder, which one of these 2 outboxers is going to make the decision to come forward and take it to the other girl? Which girl is going to force the other to fight on their terms? I've noticed a mean streak in Sky Nicholson ever since she moved down to Super Bantam. She's been stepping into her punches more, sitting on her punches more. It could be that as a Super Bantam, she packs a bigger punch and lands with more authority. Thus, she doesn't have to be as careful as she was at 126. At 122, she seems to take more chances. She's gonna take those chances with Yuli Hangluna. What I've seen of Yuli Hangluna in the past is she is an authoritative puncher. Oh yeah, she beat the fuck out of Bobby Juarez years ago. Really messed up her face, rearranged it. Like what Sebastian Fundora did to Erickson Lubin, Yuli Hangluna did that to Mariana Juarez. I remember she also fought and knocked down Mayeli Flores, the current reigning WBA Super Bantamweight champion. Yuli Hang Luna fought her some time ago and beat her, knocked her down in the process.
Knocked down Mayeli Flores. Mayeli's a tough old bird.
Yes, she is. And when she fought Yuli Hang Luna, not only did Yuli Hang beat her, but she actually dropped her. She knocked her down off a counter hook. But that was on her toes, on the move, circling away, and playing the perimeter of the ring. I don't know that she's going to do that with Sky Nicholson because that's both their methodology. So somebody is going to have to change something. Somebody's going to have to make a decision to come forward and take it to the other girl. And I'm not quite sure who's going to do that.
Not sure who it's going to be because, like I said, Sky has been working on sitting on her punches and being more aggressive, letting her hands go. So is it going to be Sky that makes a decision to come forward, or is it going to be Yuli Hang Luna because she's a little shorter than Sky?
Not as tall, not as long and limber. In this fight, perhaps not as able to box from the outside. I don't know, but at first glance, I like the fight. It's a welcome addition to the card, and it is a step up from the last two girls that Sky Nicholson fought. Preliminary thoughts? This is a good one.
Even at this point, like a fight with Canelo, does it even interest you at all, or does it even still happen potentially?
Oh, yeah, it definitely still interests me. I feel like, honestly, I'm in such good position right now that it could happen at 175 because I don't think Canelo's going to retire. You know, I think the type of person that Canelo is, he's going to be, oh, well, I didn't prepare for that fight, but now I'm prepared, this and that. You know, there's another storyline behind that because of the way he lost. He didn't go in there and get just beat up and destroyed the whole fight. It just didn't look like he prepared at all. And the fighter that was prepared, was Crawford. So, there could still be a big storyline, 175. Like I said, he could say, oh, well, now I'm motivated. Now I have a reason to train, now this and that. And it'll be a title fight for 175. So, everything is still possible right now.
Why is David Benavidez still obsessing about this guy? You're not even at the same weight anymore. And him, he doesn't have the belts. He's not undisputed. I thought that's what it was all about. What value is there in still pursuing Canelo Alvarez?
Well, didn't David Benavidez say that he was completely done at 168 and there's no chance of him moving down? He's expecting Canelo to move up, to come to him? I'm sorry, buddy, but it doesn't work like that.
Even if Canelo doesn't retire, doesn't work like that. If Canelo were to go back to the light heavyweight division, that is if he wanted to, he would have went back for Dimitri. He would have had the rematch with Dimitri. Now what, you're expecting him to move up for you?
I don't think that shit's gonna happen. The reason he's probably still pursuing it. Crawford beat him, Crawford beat him, and he beat him up. Did it decisively. But he didn't stop him, and he didn't drop him. He didn't reduce Canelo Alvarez to a bloody mess. That if David Benavidez still has interest in that fight, he probably wants to be the one to do it. He probably wants to be the one that stops Canelo Alvarez.
I think he sees some sort of intrinsic and potential commercial value in that, being the one that knocks out Canelo. And I think he's right that Canelo's not about to retire. He's not.
But I don't think he's moving up to light heavyweight either. I think he's going to stay put. I think he's going to stay there because there are some options there for him. We know that Turkey wants to put Hamza Shiraz in the ring with him, but there is also the winner of Conor Benn versus Chris Eubank, that if Chris beats Conor again, he might move up. He might fight Canelo.
Chris has been up there before. He's campaigned as a super middleweight before. Wouldn't be the first time.
He's got options. A couple of Brits right there.
He's got a fantastic track record against British fighters. Whether you're talking about Matthew Hatton, Liam Smith, Callum Smith, Billy Joe Saunders,
Rocky Fielding, John Ryder. He's got a fantastic track record against British fighters. And against the British fighter, he could get himself back in the winner's bracket, make a bunch of money, maybe do it in the UK. He did say a couple of years ago he would like to fight in the UK. Those are the fights that could get him over there. Because he doesn't have belts anymore, he can do that world tour.
Doesn't have belts, some mandatories, bogging him down, barking up that tree. He can do what he wants, when he wants, more so than he already does, than what he was already doing.
The ship has sailed, David.
I think that the biggest part of selling David Benavidez as a fighter has been attaching his name to Canelo Alvarez, since Vast majority of people didn't seem to care about him until that became the conversation, often the case when Canelo enters into the space.
2017 was when David Benavidez first became WBC super middleweight champion. Nobody really gave a damn then. And when he won the title back, they still didn't really care. It's not until Canelo comes into it that it gets interesting, that people start to care about David. They start to hype him up.
That's often the case when Canelo Alvarez is involved. That's why I think he gets sick of these guys like David, that sit around, sit on their hands, playing it safe, while he's already done all the legwork and paid his dues and fought in the big fights, fought the Hall of Famers, won some and lost some, so that you could sit on your hands.
Kick a fucking rock.
You get the hell out of here!
No, Canelo's not about to retire, not yet, but he's close. Come on, you can't give Canelo more than 2 or 3 fights, tops. 2 or 3, if that.
Before he's done.
Guy's got over 60 fights, he's been a champion at 4 weights, unified in 1, undisputed in another. I don't think he sticks around that much longer. Moreover, I don't think he's thinking about David. I don't think that's on his mind.
The reason it's on David's? Because David has his work cut out for him. He's fighting as a light heavyweight now. He's got the Anthony Yarde fight coming up. Artur Beterbiev in the queue. Dimitri Bivol in the queue. Potential move to cruiser. Potential fight with Zurdo.
Got Zurdo Ramirez in the queue. Some of these fights, challenging, difficult. And David Benavidez has his work cut out for him. In David Benavidez's mind, Canelo has mentally checked out from boxing. He doesn't have the passion anymore, and that's why David is still talking about him. He wants to be the one that stops him, but it's a pipe dream.
This shit is not gonna happen, man. And the more you keep talking about this guy, it's like an obsession.
Yeah, it's still possible. Yeah, sure, maybe it's possible. Like it's possible that Sidney Sweeney lets me motorboat a boobs.
I suppose it's possible, but is it plausible? Is it likely? Is it likely to happen? You know the answer.
We all do.
And as far as working with other promoters, is that something that you consider, Dana, when need be? Because it seems like that you coming into the sport is just, it's kind of like that expression, high tide raises all vessels. But there's always somebody that doesn't want to get it, that doesn't want to fix. Like Eddie Hearn comes out with some crazy shit. Your thoughts on that, by the way, your rebuttal to the comments that you made last week.
Well, it's fascinating. Eddie Hearn all of a sudden is acting like a fucking lunatic. You know what he sounds like to me? He sounds like he's reading a WWE script every time he talks on a show now. It's a fascinating thing because I've known Eddie for a while, and this isn't Eddie's personality. But the other thing is when you hear somebody like Eddie talk, it reminds me of a career politician. You know, he's running for election now, and he's like, we're going to do this and we're going to do that and we're going to do this. Well, where were you the last fucking 20 years? You didn't do shit. And now I'm getting in. I'm going to do these fights, and now you're going to do this and you're going to do that. Those guys never thought big. It's just not the way they think. It's not the way they run their business. And you know, all of a sudden now Eddie's going to change boxing, and he's going to fix this, and he's going to do that, and he's going to compete with me, and he's going to do all this shit. I don't even think about those guys, what they're doing, how they're doing it. I get in. I keep my head down, grind, and do my thing, and we'll see where we end up in 5 years.
It's a curious proposition. What will the state of Zuffa Boxing be in 5 years, if they're still around in 5 years? If Zuffa turns out to be a success, what would that look like?
It would still be a biosphere, just a bigger one. They want to kick it off with about 400 to 450 boxers. So if you're imagining a successful endeavor, a successful few years, that means good viewership. People are watching these fights. They're enjoying them.
They're said to be doing 12 shows in the coming calendar year. So if you imagine that the first few years of Zuffa turn out to be a success, who knows? Maybe they do 2 shows a month. Maybe 12 shows becomes 24. And maybe that allows them to expand upon the stable. Maybe they go from 450 to 6. Maybe 850. Expand upon a stable of 850 fighters. But this is all hypothetical on the predication that Zuffa turns out to be a success. That if they succeed, what would that look like? That's what it might look like.
We still don't know if this shit is gonna work.
Everybody's having a lot of fun with this newfound rivalry between Dana White and Eddie Hearn. I mean, it was Eddie Hearn who took it upon himself to compete with Dana White, to go after him. So when Dana talks about him, he's only addressing that. He's only really addressing what Eddie Hearn said.
At least according to Dana White, that's not Eddie's personality, and he comes off like a guy, WWE guy, reading off a script. That's what Dana said. What Eddie says.
Guys, I think he said someone's telling him to read from a WWE script. You guys know a couple of things. Number one, I've never had a fucking script in my life. And number two, no one tells me what to say. And, you know, all this stuff, I've never seen, like, I'm a little bit concerned with what I saw from Dana, because I like Dana. And I don't want it to go like this for him. But I saw that interview, I was like, ah, it's over. It's over before it's even started. I mean, how loud do you want to talk, right? We know, we've seen this before where the blood pressure starts going through the roof. You got just chill. It's only little old me that doesn't think big enough, you know? So just chill. We don't have to scream and shout. We don't have to lose our temper. The blood pressure doesn't have to go out of control. You do your thing, I'll do mine thing. You know, we've seen the rumoured success with the Muhammad Ali act. We know what that is. But we just keep doing what we're doing. And I like our spot right now.
You do your thing, I'll do mine. All the while cross-comparing, in all actuality, competing. But how can Zuffa Boxing compete with Matchroom when Zuffa Boxing is a fish tank? It's an aquarium.
Well, that's the shit. I don't think they can. I don't think you can get a pool of 450 mid to low tier fighters and compete with a Matchroom.
That doesn't mean you can't be successful in your own way with your own endeavor, because you still can, but because you're talking about mid to low tier fighters who really don't draw that much, how are you going to compete with a Matchroom? The only way for one promotion to compete with another is to cannibalize the other, to generate more money than the other and draw more eyes to it than the other, and I can't see Dana White doing that, even with all the money that this thing has behind it.
Yeah, there's a chance that it could be successful, but there's a cap on how successful they can be, because no matter what, you're talking about signing mid to low tier fighters that don't draw that much. They're not stars.
So you got some kid, he wins a bronze, he wins a silver in the Olympics. He's likelier to sign to a Matchroom as he's going to get a big signing bonus and a lot of money per fight that Zuffa's not paying out. And Zuffa may not be able to draw that kind of talent to them because they're not paying that much.
I don't understand then. How could they be successful if that's the case?
Well, they don't need to be bigger or better than Matchroom to be successful and to be sustainable in their own right. Strength of the brand operates as a megaphone to raise awareness of what you're doing, get people to watch, and if they like what they see, they'll keep tuning in. If you're putting on compelling, entertaining fights with mid-tier fighters, people will watch it.
And that would qualify as a success.
Well, we'll see what they've got. I just find it comical that Dana White keeps saying that Eddie Hearn and the other people in boxing don't think big enough when what he's doing ain't all that big. You're just carving out a little corner, a little lane for yourself, a little crawl space, so you don't have to compete with anybody else.
Get a load of him.